that I had the chance to play Metro Exodus, and that is topic of the show this week. I was fortunate enough to be invited by Deep Silver UK to an event in London, so thank you so much to Deep Silver for inviting me, and got to play Metro Exodus for about 5 hours. I played on the Xbox One X, of course, on a beautiful 4K, probably about 42-inch, 32-inch, and I'll tell you, Mike, it was like this close to my face. Like, it was too much. It was too close, I'm not gonna lie. But it was a lot of fun. So I thought what we could do here is you could ask me anything you want about the game. I mean, I can go off on a few tangents. I just made a video that'll be going up today, the same day that Patreon supporters can hear this, and it will be out by the time everybody else is hearing this. But if you any questions, what have you got, Mike? What is this game to you? Are you looking forward to it? Do you not care? Where are you at on this one?
Oh, I'm super excited for this. I've been telling you, I've been looking forward to it for a long time. It was one of those games where, I was already sold from day one.
Yeah.
Then I was extra sold when they came out with either the E3 conference trailer or it was the Game Awards trailer. And then we also talked about, like, how much more can I take? I can't have any more games spoiled for me. I can't see any more trailers because I'm just ready to go. And then they had the final trailer on the train, and I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Just keep going. Give me more. So I guess my true question is when we talk about this, Fix, you were so privileged to get to go to one of these awesome press events. So what I want to start with was, tell us the setting. Was it like the Resident Evil 2 remake setting at E3 where they had the big haunted house? What did they do to go above and beyond? Or was it just a generic conference room with a bunch of TVs? Did they spice it up? Paint this picture of plebs out here. We want to know what you got to see.
Yeah, no, so outside of the venue, I'm not sure if I'm actually allowed to say the venue, so I'm not going to, but outside the venue, they just had like a nice sign that just said Metro Exodus with some like grassy leaves, so I took a picture of with a skeleton set outside, and I was like, oh, okay, this is where I need to go. Perfect. That's nice and easy. That's always the best thing. I hate traveling uptown, up London, up like central London, because I'm bad with directions. But got there, was introduced to Dan, who's another PR guy, so it was nice to meet a different set of PR people. I've got my people that I use, but you always need to know other people, so it's nice to know and obviously network with other people. So I got to meet Dan, who was a great guy, took care of me, and that. So went inside, it's all decorated, it had all the Metro weapons around the outside, next to the cloakroom, so you could go and have a look at those. You could see the attention to detail that goes into just making this weapon and then making it in the game. So it was just so much fun to like check those out, look at the attention to detail of someone who had handcrafted this, and that was really, really cool. And then you went inside and it was just TVs and PCs everywhere, dude. Like, I've never seen anything like that. We had like, there must have been about 5 rows downstairs. Then we had like leather seating around the edges, which was where all the Xbox One X's were, with like 42 inches. And the TVs were sort of set at like an angle, like a triangle sort of thing. So you'd have one person sat on this side and then one person sat the other side. And then I just sort of kept staring at this other dude who was next to me. And I got talking to him for a little bit, but I just looked at him smiling the whole time. And I was just like, yeah, dude, I know, this game's really good. So we did that, and then we broke for lunch. They catered lunch and stuff like that, which is lovely. But when I'm on a diet and I can't eat carbs, I'm like, can I just have the meat, please? Can I just have the... I'm becoming Nick Scarpino, I feel like. I'm like, yeah, no bread. Can I just have the beef stew? And I'm just taking beef out of it. Everyone's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, that and a bit of chicken as well. I'm like, yep, okay, here we go. I did that last episode as well. Keep knocking this damn picture off the wall. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. So yeah, we got to sit down, went for a presentation with a couple of members of the Deep Silver team. I met a kind of funny best friend, which was dope. They noticed my hat, and we got talking, and then it was like, oh yeah, you're McFister, aren't you? And I was like, oh my god, I'm done. I said, I'm done. I'm like, no, please don't do that, please. And then I spoke to somebody else, and who was another fan of Kind of Funny, and she was like, oh yeah, I live in Germany now. I'm a QA tester for Deep Silver. And I was like, how's that? She's like, she's loving it and stuff like that. That was dope. And then we actually sat down to play the game. So we had 3 different sections of the game we was allowed to play, which was, let me get it up on my phone real quick, which was the Tiger, which I think the Tiger's the only one I didn't play, strictly due to time, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to play anymore. I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to play anymore. I'm having too much fun with this, and I really don't want to spoil everything for me. So it was the Vanguard, which was the snow part, the Caspian, which was the sand, the wastelandy sand and the hot part, and then the Tiger part, which I never played. And then, like I said, it was a really interesting experience to sort of, usually when you go to these events, they sort of hold your hand a lot. They're like, oh, do you need help? No, this wasn't that at all. It was, we get it, you had to play games, go play the games. The control scheme's in front of you. If you need any help, put your hand up. Boom. That was it. So they left us alone I played it for 5 hours. There's people that got there, so it started at 12, I think we was allowed to play, and it ended at 6, so people could have played for about 6 to 7 hours, but I chose not to, just because I didn't want to. I got my 5 hours fixed, and I was like, that's good for me. Plus, I had to get home to stream and stuff. But yeah, let's jump into the gameplay a little bit. What do you want to know, Mike? What do you want to know?
You know, it's an interesting one. When I think of Metro and the games before this, I think of more of a kind of a Wolfenstein feel. It's not as fast as Doom, but it's more of that shoot, loot, and keep it moving type feel to it. Now I know they're kind of pushing more of a survival type video game on this one. I guess you could classify it as survival horror, but it's going to be just more survival action is what I want to call it. So I guess let's talk about that. What's the branch? Is it Fast and Furious like Doom? Is it more of like a Wolfenstein?
Yeah.
Or does it feel like we're going to be like Resident Evil, counting every bullet and praying that we make it through this section? That's where I definitely want to start.
A little column A, a little column B, to wipe out the Doom part. Nothing like Doom. Nothing like Doom. I would say it's a mixture between that Wolfenstein gameplay, obviously, shooting mechanics-wise, and yes, you are counting every single bullet. It is, for me anyway, the way I play, and I said this in the video that I'm putting up soon, that I play very much gun-ho. I run in, I want to shoot things, I want to No, you can't do that in this game. It is super, slow yourself down, spot your enemies. If you do want to play like that, cool, you can if you're really good, but I wasn't really good. So, and the weapons that I hadn't been upgraded, I hadn't crafted new materials and stuff like that. Didn't have a scope, didn't have an extra barrel, didn't have this, didn't have that, which is all in the game. All of that is in the game. The crafting system is really cool and really easy and really nice and clean, which is what I love about it as well. But yeah, it's very much so. I ran out of ammo every single time and I was scared because I'm walking around like, damn, all I've got is this knife now. And I've got my lighter out to look in certain areas, or my torch or my gun, but my gun's got no ammo. So I'm walking around with this torch, and I'm like, if I see something, I just got to hit that analog stick and start sniping people quick as I can. But yeah, it was... Certain areas have certain different pacing, which is what I would say. For me, it's a case of the wasteland part that I played was a lot more... It was brighter, obviously. It was daytime when I played it, and then it moved into nighttime, which is the dynamic weather in this game, like, oh my god, amazing. Amazing. The way it changes the way you play the game and approach different situations. Because obviously in the daytime, everyone can see you. In the nighttime, you're a little bit slower, you're going in stealth. And as someone who hates stealth, they have done stealth perfectly. It is very hard when you do get spotted, and people will keep running at you. Like, I had 7 of these monster ghouls on me at one time, and I'm like, and I've got no ammo, so I'm running away, and they're just chasing me down this road, dude. They're just coming and coming and coming. I'm like, they're gonna stop soon. Nope. They just kept chasing me, and I'm like, damn. So I'm running around, I'm melee attacking, boom, one, run away, run back around, bang, get the other one, bang. Oh, it was hard, but it was so rewarding. Everything that I did in that game for those 5 hours was rewarding. Gameplay is, I'd say, a balance between it's not, I wouldn't say it's a survival horror game, but it's definitely a survival game. You've got your tools, whether it's your lights, being your lighter or your lamp, your torch, on your guns. Obviously, you've got your guns, you've got your melee weapons, you've got this gas mask that in certain areas you have to put on this mask, and you have your air filter. At one point, I forgot to craft an extra filter. You can craft on the go for certain things, like ammo and the filters, but if you want to obviously create more, you go to your workbenches and stuff like that. I forgot to craft it, so I'm in this one area, and I just run out of air, and I die, and I'm like, what? What the? And then I'm like, That game just taught me real quick. You need to keep on top of your inventory management, what you have. I very much say I think this is the best sandbox world I've been in. It doesn't tell you need to go and find things. You need to go loot. You need to go do this. You need to go do that before you approach your mission or your side mission. But what it does do is it's like, well, that's where you got to go. Feel free to go there. But when you get there, you're like, damn, I haven't got enough ammo. Damn, I haven't got this. Damn, I haven't got enough health packs. And then you sort of get yourself out of that situation and then you start going exploring. And you start going around this world. It reminded me, the Wasteland part very much reminded me of Fallout. In the way of you're exploring the world and you're picking up items and you're taking down like different parts of the map and different people. But obviously it's a lot more restricted than that. But that's what I like about it. It's sandbox, not open world. That's what you need to remember. Like, it's not a case of like open world. Here you go do whatever you want. It's very much, boom, we've stopped here for this certain reason, which I don't want to get into story spoilers at all, because they asked me not to, which is, boom, we've stopped here for a certain reason. We need you to go to this area and do this. And it's like, all right, cool. Then you start searching other areas and you meet other characters and you are picking up the cassette tapes, which the cassette tapes are super dope and they tell a great story within the story, which is always fun. And it's not a case of like you push the cassette and it has the audio. The audio design, Mike, is brilliant because you have the cassette tape play while you're in there and you walk away and you're like, oh, I'm going to have to stand it the whole time. Nope, it keeps on playing as you walk off and it's
Love
just
that.
great.
Love that.
So great. So great. But yeah, it's definitely a balance between a first-person story-driven shooter and survival horror. The dark, gritty, scary. I jumped 5 or 6 times while playing this game. It's really, really good. The atmosphere is top-notch.
Oh, I love that, Fix. You went over a lot there, know, for all of us outside the industry. We're pretty jealous of you right now. I guess let's touch on really quick. So you kind of touched on it's not open world,
No.
but it's kind of a bigger map plot, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Does it remind you of kind of Tomb Raider type feel, where she was an open world, but it was a larger kind of narrow section that you would go down? Because
Yeah.
when I think of Metro and I think of shooter games similar to Wolfenstein, it was like, hey, here's the level. We're going to kind of stick to these corridors, maybe expand a little bit more. From the way I'm hearing you, it almost sounds open world. It sounds kind of bigger than that. So would you put it on more the scale of Tomb Raider and how she had it, where it was these certain levels? It wasn't full open world, but it was a pretty big area to explore?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. It's sandbox, isn't it? It's this. You have your restrictions. You have you're not going to go without beyond these parts of the world, but there's so much there to explore that you don't want to just go straight to your main mission. You can, don't get me wrong, and you're probably going to get your teeth kicked in because you haven't, unless you've got a ton of ammo and stuff. But the game really does do a great job of like, hey, it doesn't say it, but it makes you think it, which is, hey, maybe you should go and check out that warehouse over there. Hey, maybe you should check out that house over there. Oh, there's this green mushroom. What is that? Let me go check that out. And then you're crawling through these dark and dingy spaces, and you're thinking, I'm just picking up this mushroom. Boom! There's a monster. You're like, what the hell is going on here? And you've got to react to it. You instant react. But yeah, it's very much sandbox, not open world, which I think is brilliant for a game like this. Open world, I'm definitely getting open world fatigue, definitely. So a game more like this, where it's like, you don't have to go and explore everything, but if you want to, there is a brilliant world out there for you to explore in the 2 sections that I definitely played.
Okay, I like hearing that. Let's go over to the crafting system really quick. What kind of items are we crafting? Of course, when I think of crafting, there's so many different things from Fallout 76 with just rubber, plastic, whatever you want to call it. Then over to kind of Far Cry 3, I think of it's like tiger skin, shark fins, or whatever you want to call that. What is the crafting really there? Is it like pick up ammo cases and powder? Is it kill X amount of enemies and get their, I don't know, vermintide hides? What is this?
Yeah, so this is it's a bunch of different things. It's not just one. What you do is when you find weapons that you're out in the world, like enemy drops, you can actually deconstruct their weapons instead of just picking it up. So X will pick it up, hold B will deconstruct it, and it will then give you an extra barrel, an extra scope. So that's one part of the game. Also, to go along with it, you've got obviously your normal ammos, you've got your normal tool parts, we'll call it, like nuts and bolts and stuff like that, which all combined into making whatever it is you choose to make. Obviously, you've got your scopes, you've got your med kits, you've got your fire rounds, your different types of ammo. Like I said, you've got your filters, you've got your molotovs, your cans to destruct enemies, you've got throwing knives, there's so much, Mike, that to be crafted, and there's so much that you're going to want to have, and you're going to want to chop and change your different scenarios around what you're doing. You're not going to want to just play around with one. You're not going to want to just use this scope, or just use this barrel, or just use this. Do you understand what I mean? Different parts have different advantages. Some do more damage, some are more accurate, some have got better stability. But yeah, you're always working towards upgrading your weapons and your armor, and then obviously beyond that, there's a few other parts that I didn't really dive too deep into, but was a lot of fun. Lighting's obviously a key thing in this game as well, so you're constantly going around turning on lights, so you've got more light, and the game does a really good job of that, where it's like, cool, you've got your light on your gun, or you've got your lighter, which can, like, you're frying sort of spider web so you can walk through and stuff like that, but they've also got lights around, which is like, that's down to you. How do you want to play? Do you want it to be dark? Do you want it to be gritty? Do you want it to be scary? Do you want to sneak up on enemies? Or do you want the lights on? Do you want to be able to see? Do you want to be able to get those headshots? It's got a bit of both. But the crafting, for me, was really fun. I really liked being able to take different parts from weapons, pick up weapons that I liked, and then take parts off my old guns that I liked as well, and then be able to go back to my workbench and start reconfiguring my guns and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool, Fix. Okay, I like that kind of crafting system there.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that dynamic weather you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not true open world, but it's that sandbox. So you're gonna have some space. How does the weather play a factor? What kind of weather are we gonna see? Are we gonna see giant sandstorms out in the desert? Are we gonna see rain? We're gonna see snowstorms. How does that change the gameplay?
Yeah, well, from what I saw a very, when I went on to the wasteland part of the map, this is where I saw the most of this. I did the snowy map, which was cool. Didn't see too much of a crazy snowstorm or anything like that. A little bit of snowfall. Was pretty. It was nice. It was cool to have the effects there. But where I really felt it was good and changed the game was during the wasteland part. It went from like a day to dusk night weather, and you had a sandstorm, sands going past your face, you've got wind just blowing things everywhere. The sound design does a great job of that, obviously expressing that, but everything about it just changed the way you played a little bit, because you're finding it harder to see, so it does make you then adapt how you want to play as well. Because obviously, if you can see, you're gonna go. For me, if I can see enemies, I'm shooting enemies. But when there's a sandstorm and it's that in between period between dark and the day and night, it does change the way you move. It does change the way the game feels and how you want to then approach different areas. I said like I said before, there was parts where I was in a house and I'm like, man, I might just wait for the day and night cycle to go over, or I might go to sleep at this part in the game because it's nighttime. I want it to be daytime. It really does change the way you play and how you experience this world, and how enemies are going to approach you. So yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. Okay, I like that. And then my final one is I want to touch on the main character, who, I'm not quite sure.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done my research on this. I believe it's a girl there. I don't know her name. I don't know any information about her. And then, of course, I want to touch on the enemies. We've seen the kind of rat-like mutant creatures. We've seen some of the cultists, we'll call it, the crazy, just normal human. Give me a little span of what we got going on. Not too deep into the story.
I can't.
But, give me that general overview. What do we got here?
Yeah, so from what your plan as a character, I don't remember the gentleman's name, or I've got it written down somewhere, but I haven't got my notes in front of me. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to. I kind of didn't want to remember who I'm playing as, because this is the first experience for me in Metro as well. I kind of want to be able to start from the beginning, which I don't think that's where I started. Would have been a really weird place to start if that was the case. And I want to learn about these characters. I did learn a few little things that, again, I don't want to spoil. I wasn't playing as the female character, but I did see her a lot. I did go on a mission
okay.
with her as well as, and there's a few other things again I don't want to jump into because of spoilers. But I was playing as a character that it come across that the leader didn't really like us, but he puts up with us. He puts a lot of pressure onto us. We're like the go-to guy for him. There's plenty of other characters around that could do this task, but he trusts us with it. He's hard on us, but he trusts us to do the job and get the job done, and we can take care of ourselves. When it comes to enemies, yeah, you've got your normal bandits, we'll call them. I don't know the full details. I saw the Metro trailer, the story trailer. Didn't get to see any of those werewolves. I really, really, really wanted to come up against some of those werewolves, which I didn't get to, but that's a shame. But I did get to come up against some enemies in the water, which was interesting. That were jumping on my boat, which were sort of like crab-like monsters, and I was sort of just trying to avoid them to the best of my ability. They would jump on my boat, I throw down my paddle, and pop, 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 and then we go again. And that was kind of a cool, like, the waters are not safe. Like, you can't just go running through water, obviously. You need to approach it a certain way, otherwise you're going to die. And again, everything feels very purposeful. And it's really cool. Really, really cool to see it, Mike. I'll be honest with you. Obviously, bandits, ghouls, there was bats. I come up against these very, very interesting spiders that were terrified of the light. So that was built into a whole part of the game that I played, map that I played, or part of the game I played, I should say, sorry, where you're not meant to shoot them. You're meant to just shine a light on them, from my understanding. That's how I played it anyway. And they would come out of all different places in this map. So I'm walking through this toilet, and you hear a noise behind you, and you're using your headphones, you really are. You're like, crap, spin around, shine a light on them. And you're like, okay, boom, they disappeared again. And you walk back through, you're walking through, and he's in front of you, shine a light. End up killing them with the light, takes a long, long time, and it's a slow process as you're going through these really dark and dingy corridors, or you're in the air vents, which I was at one point. Super scary, but super fun. Really, really liked it.
That's awesome. And do we have like a Cassandra Alexios type pick and choose who you are, or is it just every other mission or certain amount of missions you switch to that set?
So again, I was playing more of a open world sandbox X when I doing my chapter select. Like I said, it was 3 different chapter selects for me to do. I only got through 2 of them. So there was no option for me to pick a different character or anything like that. Maybe that's in the full game. I would have thought they would have announced it by now if it was. I do think you're very much in the shoes of this main character, and you're going to experience the other characters around you. Voice acting was fantastic from what I played. Loved hearing the Russian accent and stuff like that, translated through subtitles for me. Really, really, really interesting. The story there, what I've experienced, is cool. It didn't ever... a lot of people have been asking me, Fixer, was this game a little bit too much, where like, you don't know what's going on? No. I always felt like I knew what was going on. I understood what I was doing. Yes, I'm sure people that have played the 2 previous games are going to have a deeper knowledge on what's going on in this world. But me, I knew what was happening. I knew my role as this character, and I was ready to go and do it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love what I played so far, man.
Well, you've had a smile on my face this whole time.
Good.
I'm sure everybody listening right now cannot wait. I hope I asked everybody's questions. If I didn't guess what, the game's right around the corner, and we're all going to be playing it real soon, so I'm jealous of that. Fix, that's all I got. You got anything else you want to tell us about?
No. I think that's pretty much it. I'm glad that. Thank you again to Deep Silver for inviting me. Obviously, that's super important to say. I'm glad that I got to do the preview event, because this could have easily have been one of those games that I just went, no, you know what? No, I'm good. Crackdown drops that day. Far Cry New Dawn drops that day. Like, there's so much dropping around that day that if I didn't get to experience this game, maybe I would have went, no, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. It don't matter. But it does matter. It is a big deal, and it really is an interesting game. And I suggest that people do check it out.